I want to speak about something that, I'd say unfortunately, I hear a lot about from different people at different stages of life. A lot of times it's coming from alumni. They send me emails, which I appreciate the emails. The content, though, sometimes makes me a little sad. And that is the topic of passion. To be passionate about different things that we're doing and that we're involved with. It could be passion about our learning, passion about our jobs, passion about our relationships, our marriage. And sometimes I hear someone says, I'm not so passionate about learning, so I don't want to do it. Or I'm not passionate about my job. I'm not passionate, unfortunately, I get emails. I'm not passionate, Rabbi, about my marriage. Well, what could I do to go ahead and help it become better? And passion is a very, very important trait. It's a very important thing for us to have about hopefully everything in our lives that we're involved with. The pasuk says in Koheles, in Perek Yud Aleph, pasuk Tes, the pasuk says, the halach b'darchei libcha. A person should go in the ways of their heart, u'b'marei einach, in the ways that they see. And in Tziv, in Sefer Bamidbar, Perek Tezvav, Pasuk Mem Aleph, he says that this pasuk is actually telling us that one of the ways to figure out your life's mission. There are different ways to figure out why we're on this world. One of the ways to figure out our mission in this world is by looking at our passion. That's what the pasuk's saying. You should go into darchei libcha. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling that I should be here. I'm feeling that I should be involved with this. I'm feeling that I should engage with this. There's a reason you have this passion. Hashem gave me this passion and you a different passion. We're not supposed to be the exact same cookie cutter person, right? We're created differently because every single individual has a unique mission in this world. Well, how do you figure out this mission? We'll have to talk about that another time, but one of the ways to figure out your mission, one of the 5 ways that I have, is passion. What am I passionate about? What do I enjoy? What do I like? What do I love speaking to people. All right, so that must mean my mission in this world is to be a people person, to be involved with that. And you have to figure out in what area we go ahead and do that. The Netziv points out that wherever it is you're going to define your passion, you have to keep it in the realm of halacha. But as long as you're in the realm of halacha, so whatever it is that you're passionate about, that should be the reason Hashem gave you this passion. If that's one of the ways I'm supposed to figure out my life's mission, how even more terrible it is if someone isn't passionate about things. What do you mean? I'm not passionate about anything. I'm not passionate. That's a terrible thing. It's not like, oh, this guy, he's passionate. That guy's not passionate, but he makes a lot of money. No, every person has to be passionate. You have to be passionate about something. There has to be a drive. We have to be driven. Mirz Hashem, we're passionate about a lot of different things. So as we see that this is so crucial, not just a nice thing. So the question is, how does a person develop passion? There's a mistake out there, a big mistake. And that is that people think that passion means I enjoy it. Oh, I love this. I'm passionate about hamburgers because I love eating hamburgers. No, that's not, they don't go hand in hand. In fact, people could be very passionate about things without enjoying it. Actually, most things that people are passionate about, they don't necessarily enjoy. Passion, it could be a certain intensity, it could be a drive, it could be a deep commitment. Someone is working out in the gym. They're very, very passionate about working out. They might not, if you stop them in the middle and say, how's it going? Oh, I'm having such a good time right now. You're not having a good time at all. I'm working hard. I'm driven to go ahead and do that. I'm passionate about building my muscles, about losing weight, whatever it is. I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about my mission. I'm enjoying it right now. Passionate does not necessarily mean that you have to love it. So a person can actually be engaged significantly with learning Torah, with doing chesed. It might be really hard, it might be really uncomfortable to go to that person's house to help them out, to go ahead and do that chesed. One of my kids was asked to go to someone's house to try to straighten up the house. They went in there and they said, Abba, you would have fainted on the floor of the smell when you walked in. It was such a terrible thing. It wasn't exciting and fun and this is great. Let's clean up the toilets now. It wasn't fun. But there was a passion. I got to help this person. They're in such a terrible state. They're super duper poor. No one cares about them. They don't have family. Someone has to help them. So you're passionate to go ahead and do it because it's the right thing to do. It doesn't necessarily mean that we love it. So when people say, oh, I can't learn now because I'm not passionate to learn, I'm not enjoying it, that doesn't necessarily go hand in hand. It could be there are things that you don't always love and you're always not jumping up and down about, but you could do and you could do well because you have the passion. So the question is, how do we develop passion in our lives with as many things as possible? And I'd like to share 3 different areas that we could work on in order to be able to exercise this and be able to develop passion in our lives. The first one comes from Parshas Chayesara. This is a biggie. The pasuk says in Perchav Daled, pasuk Tet Zayin, Eliezer is meeting Rivka for the first time, right? So he's going to test her out to see, is she fitting to move into Avram's home of chesed, to marry Yitzchak, right? So Eliezer is running the test. And he sees, the pasuk says, V'anara tovas marer ma'od, b'sulav ishlo yeda'ava teirada aina. She goes down to this well, this body of water, v'temalei chada v'ta'al. And her jug gets filled up with water and she takes it out. Eliezer ran to her. Wow, that's amazing. He ran to this is the girl. Rashi says, what was so amazing? She filled up her jug with water. Rashi says, it doesn't say that she filled up the water. She says the jug got filled with water. The water came out by itself and went into her pail. Eliezer says, can I have some water? And she says, sure, take the water. And, maybe we should give to your camels as well until they have enough. And she says, let me draw the water for the camels. It says the word draw. The next pasuk says, she went down to be sho'ev, to draw the water. She drew enough water for all the camels. 3 times in the pasuk, when it talks about the camels, it says that she drew the water. I don't get it. If Rivka is this major tzaddikas, that the water literally comes up for her, she was going down to the water for herself. She didn't even know Eliezer was around. She came down to the well to go ahead and get some water. The water came up to her. God forbid, Rivka should have to bend down. The water came up for her automatically. But when it came to the camels, it says 3 times that she had to go down to draw the water. What's the difference? Why sometimes did it come up to her and sometimes she had to go and draw it? Says the Kedushas Levi, or Levi Yisach Barditcheva. Says as follows, an amazing thing. He says at the beginning, when she was getting the water, she was getting it for herself. So yeah, she was such a special individual that the water actually went up, flew up on its own into her pail. But then she said, maybe I could give to your camels. That was a whole different thing. Now she was doing it not for herself. She was doing a chesed. She was coming to help out Eliezer's hungry and thirsty animals. So when it comes to doing a chesed, Hashem says, no nace. I'm not going to let this water come up on its own. I want you to put in the effort to go ahead and draw the water. You have to put in the effort. You want to do a chesed? You want to do a kindness for another person? The only way to do a chesed in the right way is if you put in effort. Why is that? Because chesed is not one of these things that we just check off our list. I was a nice guy today. I helped the lady across the street. I went shopping for that lady in the Rova that can't go to the store for herself. It's not just that. It's a connection that you have to the action. If you go to the hospital to visit sick people so you could share on Instagram that you went to the hospital, that's not a chesed. I mean, it's a nice thing, better than doing nothing, right? But if you do it because you care about the person, you feel for the person, you're engaged with the tsar, with the pain of the other person, that's what a chesed is. It's the feeling and the connection that goes in. How do you get a connection to a chesed? The answer is, it's the effort. Effort creates connection, meaning passion follows action. It's not that action creates passion. Someone says, if I do it a lot, I'll become passionate about it. No, 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 no. You have to go ahead and have the action, and that will create the passion. Go do the work. Put it in. A person says, oh, I'm not passionate about learning. Well, have you tried? Have you sweated a little bit? Did you stay up a little extra at night? Did you try to do that Gemara that was really hard? If you go ahead and you put the effort in, more than what you think you're capable of, amelos, you work hard at something, that creates the passion. It's not the other way. It's not an excuse, I'm not passionate, therefore I don't do this. Do it, and do it well and hard, and that will create a passion within. The Gemara says in Masechah Sukkah, Mem Tesem Ad Beis, the Gemara says that how do you measure tzedakah? So you would say, what do you mean? Let's see how much you gave. Let's see how big that check is, right? No, that's not what the Gemara says. The Gemara says that ain't tzedakah mishtalemes ella lefi chesed sheba. The way that the tzedakah is mishtalemes, becomes complete and is measured, is based on the chesed that comes along with the tzedakah. I mean, the two separate things. There's tzedakah, and then there's chesed that goes with the tzedakah. What does that mean? So Rashi explains as follows. If you know someone needs money, and the person says, can I have some money? And you say, you know what? I'm feeling very tzedakah-dick today. Here, I'm going to give you $100,000. Come over and get the check whenever you want. That's beautiful. Tzedakah, you to give $100,000. That's a lot of money, right? Says Rashi, If you go ahead and say, but I don't want to bother you, I'm going to come to your house and bring you the check, that elevates the act of tzedakah to a whole different plane. That's the chesed sheba. The chesed that goes in, the effort, the thought that goes into the act, that brings up the act to a whole different level. When I go ahead and say, don't come here, I'll do it for you, I'll go pick this up, I'll go do that for you, I'll learn with you, I'll do this. When you put your body into it, you get involved, you feel it. There's effort. The effort elevates everything and brings about a tremendous amount of passion. So way number one for us to develop passion is by putting in effort. Don't say, I can't put the effort in because I'm not passionate, because you're saying something that's the opposite. It's our effort that goes ahead and brings the passion. That's number one. Number two is create for yourself consequences. What does that mean? This is an amazing, amazing idea. Yaakov Avinu loved Binyamin. He lost his son Yosef. He thought he was dead. He was gone. And he had his other son Binyamin, who he loved so much. And comes Yehuda back from Mitzrayim, and he says to his father Yaakov, I have bad news. One of our brothers, he got put in jail over there, and the only way we can get him out is if we bring down Binyamin. Yaakov's like, Binyamin? I'm going to lose my other son also? You cannot take Binyamin. Yehuda says, Dad, don't worry about it. I promise you, if I don't bring back Binyamin, I will lose my schar in this world and the next world as well. And Yaakov says, if that's the case, then here you go, take Binyamin down to Mitzrayim. So the question is, seriously? I mean, why did that motivate Yaakov to give up Binyamin? He said he's going to give up his world in Olam Haba. That's Yehuda's problem. What does it do with Yaakov? Why, when Yehuda said, I'm willing to give him my schar in this world and the next world, did that let Yaakov trust Yehuda? Yehuda doesn't know what he's doing. He's not a mass, negotiator for terrorists and kidnappers. Mitzrayim were terrorists. They literally stole the kid. They kidnapped him. He was a captive. Right? Yehuda's going to take care of it. Don't worry, because if not, I'm just going to lose my Olam Haba. Why did that motivate Yaakov to let him go down? So explains the Shemi Shmuel in Parshas Chayesar an amazing thing. You're right, Yehuda didn't know what in the world he was doing. Literally, he had no idea. But once the stakes were high, once Yehuda had serious stuff to lose, that would motivate Yehuda to do crazy things to be able to accomplish his goal. And Yaakov said, if that's the case, you got it. Sometimes we need consequences on ourselves. We need to set a goal. We need to set something that's going to hold ourselves accountable. Because by doing so, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, it's only a half an hour till our test. And how many people cram before their tests? I only cram before my test, okay? Right? We all know, we've all done it, right? Right before, I got to quickly look at the sheets, got to, right, memorize for 3 seconds, so the second I get the test, I can write it on top of the page. Yeah, okay, everyone's nodding. Yeah, okay, we all can relate to this. Last minute, create some pressure that I'm not gonna memorize the words. Now I gotta learn how to do this math problem, right? It's a last minute pressure. That's called passion. Do you love the words? Do you love the math problem? No, it's gonna go in one ear and out the other, but you're passionate about getting this thing done. When you have a consequence, when you have something that's coming last minute, there's a pressure on you, that allows you to do things you never would be able to do. An hour later, you couldn't memorize the 10 words for some reason, but with 2 minutes left, somehow, you're able to go ahead and do it. When you go ahead and you set measurable results, it could be a chavrusa that's going to hold you accountable. It could be a Rebbe that's going to check in on you and say, Rebbe, I'm having a hard time, learning extra. I want you to check in with me every day, so I'm going to be a little embarrassed to tell you if I didn't do it. That is going to create a passion to go ahead and do it. Now, yes, of course, we all want to grow to become the biggest tzaddikim in the whole wide world, that we never need this at all. But we're human beings, and we want to build our passion. So what we do is we create small wins. I have to go ahead and finish this amount of pages of Gemara a day. This is the amount of psukim that I have to finish in order so I can do Shlaim Mikra V'Chatargim. This is the amount of phone calls that I have to make to my family so I can go ahead and do my chesed. We keep ourselves accountable. Maybe you need someone to check in on you. Maybe you want to log it. Maybe you want to journal it. Whatever it is, we create certain consequences to ourselves. Sometimes people will say, look, if I don't come in the morning to wake up in the morning, here, I'm going to give you $1. And every single day, this is what I have to do. What's $1? It's a big deal. It's a consequence. It's something that creates a passion in me. So number 2 is that the thing has to matter. If it matters to you, if there are consequences, that builds momentum. If there's no consequences, the whole thing becomes meaningless. So results, if you have to give results to something, that shifts something becoming optional to becoming important. That's why we all were wired on tests, right? We all had to do well on our tests. That created a passion to study and get things done, because there was a consequence. Consequence doesn't always mean a bad thing at the end. There was something that would come out of my action. So now it's not optional to do this, because if I don't do well, I'm going to have to take this class again. I'm going to have to do an extra report. I'm going to have to stay late. I'm going to have to answer up to my parents. Whatever it's going to be. There's something there, and that motivates us. That's called motivation. That's called a passion. So, okay, you don't have that in Yeshiva, so we got to create it ourselves. And every time we have a small win, we have to enjoy that small win and say, oh, look what I did because I held myself accountable and made myself do it. And therefore, we have to try to create in ourselves these consequences and these short wins that will create and generate a passion from within. So the first thing is effort. Don't wait for the passion to do the effort. Do the effort, and that's going to create a passion. That's 1. 2, consequences, accountability, small wins. The second Yehuda was able to say, this matters, Yaakov said, I believe you're going to be able to do it. Because you could do things that you never thought that you could do ever if you know that there's a consequence to what you're going to do or not going to do. And the number 3 is a Gemara of Avodah Zarah Daf Yotes Amud Beis, a Gemara that's commonly quoted. That is, Ma shelibo chafetz. That a person should always be learning what their heart desires. Everyone has to think about what is it that they like. Okay, we spoke about the first way was sometimes you do things you don't like. Okay, that's true. That doesn't mean not allowed to like things. Halavai, we should like everything, right? So we have to think about something that I like. What is it that I like? Musar, I like Chumash, I like Bekiyas, I like Iyun. What is it that I like? And you have to make sure that in that realm, somewhere in your day, you are doing Ma shelibo chafetz. What is it that I like doing? And build off of that. If that means that you love Bekiyas, then figure out how you could do more Bekiyas. Extra at night. Ask for another chavusa. Ask for a shiur. Make a siyum. I'll pay for it. Okay? Whatever it is that you feel that you're excited about, go for it. You have to look inside and say, I enjoy this. Don't always go against, okay, the first level again. You have effort, that's going to create passion. But also look at what you like already now. The reason that I like that's the chinuch lesson of the Gemara of Avodah Zarah, is go with it. Go work with that and build off of what you enjoy already. That also will create passion because I already have the ingredients in there to let me be motivated and excited. Okay, so we learned over here the importance of having passion. Passion is what allows a person to figure out his life mission. Unfortunately, sometimes people get involved and engaged with bad behaviors that literally kill all your passion. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible thing, and they pay long life prices against this forever. You have to go ahead and have passion, and you have to build passion. Okay? Passion just doesn't come automatically. We have to build it. How are we going to build it? 1, through our effort. 2, by creating consequences and short-term wins and accountability. And 3, by digging deep and finding ma shelibo chafetz, what we enjoy, and then building off of that and working off of that and expanding that and building off the passion from that. And Bezrat Hashem will all be able to be zocha, to have passion about everything in the world and be just amazing, incredible, energetic, and passionate people and fill our life's mission. Enjoy the rest of the day.